Hello everyone, how you going, and welcome back to Crappydesign, the place that really just makes you wonder where all the design budget of the world just ends up going, you know? Some of these posts might frustrate you because you just go, what the hell, who would even think to design that, let alone a designer shouldn't be designing that. So I hope you've taken a chill pill or at least are sitting down, but anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? So then, starting off with USB micro Type-C, no wait, the other one. Please ensure your device is compatible with the micro USB connector. Micro USB, USB Type-C, wait, hang on, yeah, they've just reversed the images, I guess. I mean, I guess at least this one is further down the list because I can see how this could happen, you know? It is just kind of a almost just typo in terms of the images have been switched around the wrong way. You know, that one is definitely that one, and that one is definitely that one. And even though it is a mistake that probably should have been caught prior to actually just sending this out to wherever it's been sent out, whether that be online or in a pamphlet, but at least this one certainly just seems reasonable, you know? I just can't see anyone intentionally doing this or intentionally even just trying to miss it and thinking that it was a good idea in the first place. Unlike some of the posts I'm sure we'll see, and they are just going to be ridiculous. But no, it is definitely a shame because then you just really don't know which one your device actually has, you know? Because if it's a modern phone, you might assume that it's USB Type-C, but I'm sure some phones still take micro USB, so then you would be going, oh, I don't know. I mean, at least most people these days do have at least one of each, you know, USB, micro USB, lightning, micro B even, for goodness sake, just all the USB cables under the sun. But at least over time, things just are slowly shrinking, you know, as USB-C is just an absolute master of all kind of ports and whatnot. It can take data, it can take video, it can even take power, for goodness sake, like, it is an absolute beast of a cable. And so at least we can definitely say that there was a trend heading towards USB-C, and that the micro USB is generally getting phased out, so to say. But in saying that, we aren't fully in the USB-C kind of era yet, so micro USB is still around, and I guess that's why they had to do this, you know, they're going, okay, well, maybe your phone or device or whatever kind of thing it is does actually need this, whatever connector it actually needs, we don't know. I mean, considering this is all in red and the Zapka or whatever, however you actually pronounce that, I can only imagine it's Russian or something, you know, that's in red, and you can clearly see that that one doesn't line up, so I can only imagine that that is a real one. But hey, you know, maybe you go, I don't want to do that micro USB, I'll go straight to USB Type-C, and then you just try and plug it in and it's just not working. So hey, even though I'm sure by the time USB-C is actually the one and only cable, I'm sure there'll be another one kind of just right around the corner, relatively rolled out and just replace it. So the cycle of confusion is just going to continue forever. At least like I was saying, we were definitely towards the tail end of the micro USB, and so, you know, designers won't have to kind of make these mistakes for too much longer. How they think this man's before chin should look like. Oh my goodness, that is the most hefty chin I think I've ever seen. Look at that, he's got an entire forehead on his chin. What the hell is going on there? I'm certainly not going to sit here and pretend that I can read it or anything like that, but you can definitely get what they're talking about. It's some kind of, I don't know, shave or a hair replacement or something like that, but that is just ridiculous. His chin should more look like kind of, I don't know, a line like this, not just this big bulbousy line down here. Regardless of the fact that he's actually kind of smiling and it would kind of drop his chin down a little bit, there is no way it should be looking like that. It's as though they've just got the original image and they've just gone into Photoshop, just kind of chopped it here and just dragged it down, you know? Because I guess considering the kind of length of his beard, it probably looked quite weird when it's kind of just that clean cut line or right on this angle here. So they've gone, oh, I guess what do we do? You know, oh, just stretch it down, make it all look nice and uniform. You know, it's just a little tiny overlap in terms of beard length. But in actual fact, like the poster, and obviously, like I've been saying, as pointed out, you know, it's just absolutely nowhere near. His chin looks like as though it should be more like where this starts here. You know, even if we give him the benefit of the doubt and give him kind of a long chin, there is no way it is extending, like I said, a full forehead length below his chin. As a person said, it's before and after, and obviously it's before and after. As a company, you certainly wouldn't want to be marketing your product as doing the other kind of way around. But actually, think about it, I don't even know if it is actually crappy design, you know, it's almost just bad at Photoshop job. I guess it is kind of a graphic designer, so I guess it is kind of graphic design in that regard. But when I think of design, I'm more thinking about actual kind of physical things, whether that be kind of structural engineering or toys. My brain certainly doesn't immediately lean towards graphic design, and I guess that's just what it is. But at least with this post, it is certainly kind of broadening my horizons about what kind of crappy design even can be, you know? Because really, like I was saying, that is just a poor Photoshop job. And I don't care if you got the 6-year-old kid to sign off on it that is actually a good job or not, you know? Surely as a company, you kind of go, look, I think that's just a little bit excessive in terms of the chin length. But hey, perhaps they went through a whole bunch of different ones and they went, well, I guess this is actually the best one, you know? Sadly, we're just gonna have to deal with these kind of random kind of beard length and whatnot. And then I guess from there, they just kind of hope that no one would notice, but really, everyone was gonna notice, especially when it gets posted this sub. Hotel sink where you obviously aren't supposed to wash your hands. Alright, so let's see how unusable this thing is. Obviously, in the modern times that we kind of live in, sanitation is kind of fairly important, so not being able to wash your hands like that, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I guess you still can wash them, but it's just so close to the edge of the sink, you're barely gonna get any movement in there. Like they've had to do, they've just had to kind of do this right next to the edge of the sink just to be able to get any water in their hands. It's almost as though it's just been designed to be kind of a shaving bowl or something like that, where you just fill up with water and then just clean it out in the water. Not that it's actually just been designed to be a usable sink or anything like that, where you can actually get your hands under the faucet. And I reckon one of the most annoying thing about this post is it's just how relatable it is, you know? How many times you just go into some hotel or some kind of just random place and it's just got this tiny little thing, you're just trying to just squeeze your hands under there. Or actually, the other one that comes to mind when I think of crappy design is the push button tub ones that just run out immediately, you know? The amount of times that I've just gone to wash my hands and you end up just having to wash one hand at a time because you have to hold it down because you just can't get any water otherwise. It's ridiculous. And I've even had times where it was basically this bed with that, and so you just basically are just unable to wash your hands at all. And so I guess at least at this hotel, they're not trying to do the ultra water saving in terms of, you know, the push button only and whatnot, so they can't just be left on. But yeah, I'm certainly not just going to disagree with you and say that that's just completely in the right, you know. I guess really the whole thing about it is just the size of the sink that they've been given with the tiny little faucet, you know. Realistically, they just should not have bothered putting in a sink that big at all. They, you know, just giving a tiny little bowl and a tiny little tap. That'd at least proportionally make sense. But when you give this massive bowl and then this tiny sink, then you just have people wondering what's the even point of it in the first place, and then just going, oh, I just have to kind of squish my hands up to the side. So I reckon you almost just have to take the opposite approach to fancy restaurants where they have the biggest place and the smallest meal, and then in terms of having a bathroom sink, you know, just completely invert and just have the biggest tap for the sink that you can, because then at least you can just never really miss out, and at least it looks proportional. This $2 million watch that is pretty confusing to read. Oh my god, what am I even looking at there? That also doesn't even look as though it would be a $2 million watch. It almost just looks like a kid watch that has just got a whole bunch of kind of fake gems in it or something like that. Not that that would actually just be real kind of topaz and sapphire and every other gem under the sun, as well as a real movement with kind of, I guess what it would be, like a ruby in the middle. That is just ridiculous. But yeah, I just don't know where the kind of clock faces are. I can't even see any numbers on it. I guess maybe that is the point, but I don't even see any hands. Like, I don't know, but is that meant to be the hand, or is that the hand, or is this the hand? Where is the actual hand? I don't actually know what part of the movement is the hand. Because, I mean, there are plenty of faceless watches out there, which you just have to kind of look at, and you know where 12 is, you know where 3 is, you know where 6 is, you know where 9 is. It's really not that hard to get pretty close to what the exact time is, but at least whenever I've seen any of those watches, they have nice kind of long arms and whatnot, where this one, just like I was saying, I just do not understand where the arms are in relation to anything. I mean, I guess with anything like this, you do have to kind of give credit to the craftsmanship, because that is just an incredible piece in terms of all the setting of all these gems and cutting them all down so they're all pointy in the middle, and then let alone all the kind of layering involved in it, and even goes around the side and up over here as well. So it's obviously an incredible kind of timepiece. But you know, the entire design budget was just spent on the actual design of the art piece almost, not as an actual functional watch, you know. This watch is 100% function over form, and there's no two ways about it. So yeah, I've absolutely no idea who would have the balls to even attempt to create a timepiece like that, let alone who would have the balls to buy one like that when it doesn't even work, so to say. But hey, like I was saying, as an art piece, it is pretty incredible, and I can only imagine that all the colors of all the stones just come absolutely alive under light, so it'd be pretty incredible to see. So yeah, I guess besides the fact that it's a $2 million watch, I certainly wouldn't put it under the category of daily drivable. Now, I'm no expert at beaver butts, but I know something's off. Wait, hang on a minute, what is going on there? But hang on, I always just want to look up a beaver just to kind of see what is going on here. Beaver behind is what I got to search up to see if anything even comes up, but let's see. But I'm certainly not seeing anything that correlates to anything that we just saw in the other post. So to be honest, I guess I'm just going to have to say what I said before. You know, I'm no expert and I just don't really know what's going on here. No, in reality, I'm fairly sure what they're getting at is just that this tail should be on the other side, you know, the top side of the bum, not the bottom side. You know, looking at that in its current configuration, it's almost going to act more like an emergency plane slide than a, you know, a tail or whatnot that they can actually get out of the way. I mean, I guess that gives a little bit more meaning as to why it's a brown tail, but I certainly wouldn't want to go too far into that kind of realm. But I guess all in all, what it adds up to is this is certainly in the wrong kind of configuration. But hey, really, you got to look at the bigger picture here. You know, as you can see with the rest of the photo, it is clearly a kid's toy with the Buzz Lightyear or whatever this is here and the kid's Santiers. So even though it's obviously not the best to kind of mislead kids with the wrong information, I can't imagine that the demographic they're targeting is kind of absolutely after the pinpoint accuracy of their models and whatnot. You know, it's not as though this is being used at uni to kind of study the anatomical model of a beaver or anything like that. It's just a kind of kid's toy. I'm sure it's kind of harmless in that regard. I mean, I guess the question is, what is it necessary to do that? I don't really think so. You know, it kind of just seems like a lot of effort to put those two little lines in for really, I guess it's wrong in the first place, but just kind of no reward. So I guess in that regard, it's certainly crappy design. But then who knows, you know, maybe the designers are getting pushed by their clients or whoever is actually kind of pushing them to make this, and they're going, no, we need to have this and we need to have this, and it's meeting certain criteria, and they're going, look, this is the best I can do for you. I don't know what you want from me. And then in the end, the manufacturer of the client just goes, yeah, I just love it, you know, print 1 million of them. That I feel as though in this circumstance, that's the kind of route that they went down with this one, because, you know, like I said, it just really doesn't matter that much, does it? Head trigger disposal switch at waist level. I didn't need that hand anyway. Whoa, that just seems way out of proportion about where that should be. Surely, first of all, that thing is just in a kind of a splash zone, let alone the fact that it's actually kind of, you know, could take your arm off or something like that if you're kind of digging around in the drain. Let alone just the concept fear that if a knife kind of goes down there, you're just going to ruin the entire singer and everything like that. God, even though I hope this isn't a hotel, I kind of hope it is in the fact that you just haven't moved into this new place and then you suddenly discover that this is actually a switch for that, because that would just be ridiculous. Because also, it doesn't even look as though it's an easy kind of fix. You know, this is all tiled up here. You got a splashback tiles here, so you couldn't even just quickly kind of reroute the cables up over to here or something like that. You'd really just be better off completely removing the thing, because basically, like they said in the title, you know, that is just an accident waiting to happen. Someone's going to lose a finger, a hand, or whatever it may be, you know. I mean, I'm sure it happens because it wouldn't be a whole kind of stigma around it, but I've never actually heard of anyone losing kind of any digit or anything in one of them. So perhaps even though the injury rates are quite low, maybe there's just a stigma around the whole thing that people just don't want to go near them, let alone when there's just a switch just waiting for your hip or anything just to bump into it and just send chaos into the entire house. And so yeah, unless you're the person that actually just bought the place or something like that, I can only imagine there is someone kind of above you that you could kind of speak to about getting that changed or fixed or just removed, like I said, because really that would just pass no safety codes, and I don't even understand how it is even installed in the first place. I mean, I guess that's exactly what this sub is kind of catered towards. You know, it is obviously crappy design, but really realistically, I feel as though this isn't even Crappy Design anymore. I feel as though this is just a complete lack of forethought or anything like it. They just installed the thing and then realized they didn't have any cables, so they just had to put it there, you know? And so regardless of how absolutely atrocious the install is, you know, it makes sense of why they did that, I guess. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't say this passed any kind of building regulation codes or anything just even remotely close to a safety. So yeah, definitely get that one looked into, or just maybe just kind of disconnect the fuse or something like that. That's not a fox. No, that is definitely not a fox. I think you'll find that that is more along the lines of a raccoon than a fox. Just something to do with the tail and the color and the kind of just white rings around the eyes. And I guess kind of everything else about it that says raccoon and not fox. And see, this one is definitely different to the Beeple one, where I kind of gave that one to pass because it was a kid's toy, where this one is actually meant to be kind of an instructional or educational kind of puzzle piece thing. And so really you can't be affording to get that one wrong. You know, you can see that that's a duck and that's a cat. And yeah, I guess they're both kind of similar sized mammals with 4 legs and a tail, but really they're just not the same animals. And so when you're trying to teach kids the difference between two animals, you know, this is definitely going to confuse them if they see one here and then they go to the next one is completely different. You know, you certainly don't want the first fox that they ever see to be a raccoon or something like that. I mean, I guess I have to give props to the artistry. I'm always impressed about how designers and artists can kind of make something that is certainly not kind of the nicest creature. You know, some of these things are certainly not the best. Let's just say like a snake or a spider or something like that, and they just can make it look just so cute and cuddly almost. And you know, this guy's no exception. He's got kind of nice big eyes, got a little smile on, he's looking great, but he's just not a fox. Yeah, even though I do highly doubt it, I wonder if this is kind of a misprint, you know, and this artwork was actually meant to go on a raccoon face, even though I feel as though generally they might do more like a rat or I don't even know what else. So yeah, on the odd chance maybe it's just a misprint, but realistically we all know that they just kind of stuffed up, they searched up the wrong thing, or maybe actually artist just actually thinks that that is a fox, you know, they just went, okay, we need a fox, okay, started drawing or whatnot, and they've gone through their entire lives thinking that they were kind of interchangeable between fox and raccoon, you know, they're all the same animal. Maybe like I was saying, they even had something like this happen to them when they were a kid, and so they've just never forgotten it. Who knows, but whatever it is, you know, it certainly should be double checked and triple checked and quadruple checked, because this is an educational kids thing, and like I was saying, you certainly don't want to stuff something like that up, because really you're just going to cause absolute chaos for the kid, because they're not going to understand. The parents are just going to be very confused because they're going, no, it's not a fox, it's a raccoon. And then even just maybe at school, the teacher's going to have a hard time just kind of getting it back out of them, going, no, that is a raccoon, not a fox. So yeah, perhaps when these companies get all of these images and whatnot, they pair them up, maybe they should just kind of pass it off to someone else, just to have a glance over, see if there's anything just glaringly obvious that it's just wrong, I can't see anything, yeah? And then from there you can go along with the manufacturing process, just so things like this don't happen. Imagine cleaning a fan so well that you uncover 2 new blades. Whoa, that's crazy. What kind of cleaner are you using where you're just suddenly multiplying the blades, you know? Whatever the cleaning product is, just must have some uranium or something in it, because it's just mutating the fan from before and after. And you know, it's not even just adding a couple more blades, it's just completely changing the blade shape, the blade size, even the entire fan housing just gets a little bit of a tune up, so to say. So really, I have no idea how much they're going to be paying for this kind of cleaning product, but it better be the most R&D research, scientifically proven kind of cleaning product in the world to be able to do that. Because the difference between this before and after is absolutely ridiculous. It's kind of like the beard guy that we had, you know? You know, they really just could have made a little bit more of an effort to try and match that fan with that fan. Maybe just even use the product or something like that, you know? You know, surely every decent brand, if they actually believe in their product, is going to be able to show that the product works. Where these people have just gone, oh my goodness, look how incredible it is. Like I said, it's mutated it. And really, at that point, we don't even know where the Crappy Design is, you know? Is it just a Crappy Design product, so they had to do this because it just didn't work? Or is it just Crappy Design because they just didn't find a fan photo, or they just, I don't know, whatever you want to call that, just not working. And then so they just had to go and find any kind of random clean fan that looks kind of similar shape, I guess, and just kind of slap it onto their brochure instead, you know? Because like I just said, there's 2 avenues that this could really go down, and I just don't know who to blame in this circumstance. Ballroom where everyone downstairs can see up your skirt. Ladies, please note you are standing on a glass floor and guests can see up from below. What the hell? Wait, so the entire dance floor is actually see-through with glass, and it goes to where? Like an entire kind of another restaurant seating area or something like that is what I can imagine. But that is certainly just a very, very strange thing to include in the building in the first place, let alone just what it's used for, you know? Because really, whenever you're standing on glass, it's just an absolutely safety and structural engineering nightmare, you know? You got to make sure it's just completely reinforced. As you can see, they've got all the different crisscrosses everywhere. And of course, it makes sense in terms of you don't want people just falling through the glass ceiling or floor or whatever you want to call it. But really, unless you're on one of those new funky observation desks that are on the top of really tall buildings or whatnot, there is no reason to have a glass floor. Especially in a restaurant setting, you know, just kind of covered up with some timber floorboards or some vinyl or something like that, you know? No event's going to want that. No one's just going to be requesting that as a dance floor. You know, if you want a dance floor, you want a dance floor. You certainly don't want to be having to worry about this top image. So yeah, really, I don't even know if it comes out of the category of Crappy Design, because I feel as though it would have been engineered and then they put a restaurant in there. But I just don't even understand why it was even requested or done in the first place, you know? It just seems so kind of overly engineered or just overly designed in that regard. And just so much extra effort and work has gone into making a kind of unusable floor in a way. And so even though I'm sure it was someone's kind of pride and joy for however long, you know, they came up with the entire kind of glass mosaic kind of tile, well look, they had to engineer the entire thing and design it. I really just can't even see how that was something that was thought of to do in the beginning, let alone even just waste all the time and energy that has gone into it. But hey, I guess what else can they do, you know? Obviously it's meant to be a dance floor, and I guess besides kind of putting down some timber boards or some lino and whatnot, they're certainly not just going to be ripping out the whole thing. So perhaps sadly a sign is just the best they can do. And so now finally for the top of the month for Crappy Design, we have unintentionally gross marble looking keyboard. keyboard. Oh god, that really just does take the cake, doesn't it? That is absolutely horrendous. I wonder what it looks like in real life, and that is just a kind of a poor rendition online or something like that, but my goodness, does that just look gross. It really does look like someone had a birthday party yesterday and they just spilled some mud cake all over their computer or something like that, because that is just ridiculous. Look at that smear kind of pattern. I mean, I guess if you look a little bit closer, you kind of avoid these two big brown patches. If you look at, let's say, the space bar, and you can see that it does actually look alright, I reckon. You know, even considering we don't have mounds of pixels here, you can kind of see that some of the buttons actually look alright in terms of what they're going for. But really, the whole thing is just absolutely overpowered by this entire run through here, isn't it? I mean, I guess talking about that run through there, I hope it wasn't the runs or anything like that, because that is a whole other story. But no, really, I reckon I just have to agree with the title, because it's obviously unintentional. You know, no one would purposely design something like that. And obviously, once you kind of see that big brown smear through the middle, it's obviously a little bit hard to unsee it. But if you will just focus onto the design, or that's a photo or whatever, and then on the computer render, or even just on an image, you're seeing it as a full image, not kind of split up with all the gaps between all the keys, I can only imagine that it does look like a more of a marble pattern than that. So even though, once again, I feel as though it should have been probably palmed off to someone to just have a kind of gaze over to see if there's anything wrong with it first, we certainly can't blame the designer in terms of making this literally crappy design and whatnot, because your mind would totally just be locked, you know, it's a marble pattern, that's all it is, that's all I can see. So yeah, someone certainly had an unfortunate accident when they were designing this, but sadly, I just really don't think they're going to be selling many of these because, well, the obvious reason. And speaking of that post, that is going to do it for the top of the month for Crappy Design, so thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to do the YouTube and other things down below, you know. Other than that, you know, we see awesome and funny posts all over Reddit, so make sure you check some of the other videos out now, or maybe even just want to consider subscribing so don't miss another one in the future. But all in all, have a good one, and see ya.